Life and the clutter that goes along with it can have a way of creeping up on us, and the overwhelm can slowly grow and grow until one day the stuff we spent years accumulating all of a sudden feel like it's suffocating. Clutter can be like the frog in boiling water scenario. Slowly the intensity is upped and upped until you're feeling like you're drowning in past purchases you don't even know why you wanted them in the first place, why you worked endless hours of your life paying for things you don't even like or want to dust anymore. I've been there. It can feel heavy and without a doubt overwhelming, but just know it doesn't have to be. Things can get lighter, simpler, and you will breathe easier again. Stripping things back to basic and distilling life into the things you value the most, truly simplifying things, it can make life a whole lot easier and way less overwhelming. Decluttering is wonderful. I think it's like the ultimate act of self-care. And with that in mind, here's some signs it might be time for you to declutter.
Sign 1, you're overwhelmed. If things are feeling chaotic and like you just can't relax in your space, it might be a good sign that declutter is in order. When things pile up physically, they can pile up mentally too. The ever-growing pile of stuff needs tending to. Whether it's the giant pile of clothes in your wardrobe you're always reaching past, or the dust accumulating on your always needs dusting knickknacks. If you're feeling overwhelmed and can't quite pinpoint why, take a look at your surroundings. Is your stuff, your clutter, adding to your overwhelm, or is your home your oasis of peace you can sink into at the end of the day? Because it should be. Your home should be the place you feel you can relax. It should feel tranquil and be the place you retreat to after a busy day out in our overbusy world. If you're feeling overwhelmed, try being really discerning with what items in your home you truly enjoy having around and those that you don't. It will cut down on some of the overwhelm in life. Even if it's just a small amount, it can cause a ripple effect of clarity and reprioritization across your entire life if you're intentional with what exactly you surround yourself with. That goes for items in your home as well as people. The weight of overwhelm can start to lift.
Sign 2 that it's time for you to declutter, you're distracted. If you find yourself constantly distracted and your mind pulled in a million different ways, you might need to declutter. When we surround ourselves with too many things, our minds get overstimulated and distracted by the simplest things. Things encroaching on our workspaces, like our study or office, especially have a direct impact on our ability to maintain long-term concentration on the more important things. If you find yourself being constantly distracted, try cleaning your working space, not just organizing and tidying, but decluttering, really getting the stuff, the excess stuff, out of there. There's a big difference between organizing and decluttering. Decluttering should always come first. Getting rid of the stuff that you know really doesn't help you achieve your goals of a clutter-free and focused workspace. And organizing should only come after, only once you've decluttered. It's too easy to just get distracted and shift things around time after time and really not make any real progress when we just tidy. If there's still the same amount of stuff, things will get messy again. So declutter if you're finding yourself constantly distracted. A clear and well-maintained workspace does wonders for concentration.
The third sign you might need to declutter your stuff, you can't seem to find anything when you need it, especially when you're in a hurry. This one is super annoying. I know I have it somewhere, but just can't seem to find it amongst my stuff, and I'm running late. It's something I think we're all quite familiar with at some stage or another. We've mentioned it before on our channel, but this time searching for lost items amongst your clutter in your home adds up for the average person to a whopping 6.5 months of your entire life. That number goes higher or lower directly relational to how much stuff you have in your home. So if you find yourself not being able to find what you need, it's probably time to start decluttering and just keep your favorites. It'll mean less stuff to wade through, less stuff to lose and misplace, and less of your life wasted on purely just looking for your own things amongst your clutter.
Next, as our fourth sign that it's probably time you declutter, you're procrastinating. This one is closely tied to our previous point about being distracted, but this goes a step further and is when you find yourself deliberately not doing the thing you know you should be doing. Procrastinating never feels good. Well, it might feel good on a small level in the moment, but it always just exacerbates the stress and worry about actually completing the thing. It just pushes it down the road and the guilt racks up. If you're procrastinating on what matters and you'll be the best judge to know if you are, then it's highly likely that it's time to declutter soon. I mean, not now, not right now if you're actually procrastinating now. If there's something something more important for you to do, then make sure you do that. And when you have some dedicated time, make sure you spend it doing an intentional declutter. It'll make you more productive in the long run if it's intentional and with your future self in mind.
So if you're regularly finding yourself procrastinating, make sure you pop in some time in your calendar for a good declutter. And you might just find that afterwards you're more inclined to stop the procrastination habit because you've actively chosen to complete the very tangible act of curating your surrounding space into what matters the most. Somewhere you can be focused and motivated to stay on track with whatever it is that means the most to you.
The fifth sign that it's time for you to declutter, you found yourself wasting money on duplicates. When you found yourself needing to pay money for something you swear you already had but somehow lost, only for it to turn up a week later, it's more than a frustrating feeling. It's wasteful, and not just with money, it's with your time too. If you spent money on buying duplicates because you've been unable to find something in your own home, that's a really clear sign that it's time to declutter. I used to be really bad with this when it came to my sunglasses. I had so many pairs and I'd always be racing around the house trying to find my perfect pair for the outfit I had on. I honestly had too many sunnies, and because I did, I'd lose track of them and not be able to find the pair that I wanted when I wanted. After decluttering my sunglasses collection and only keeping my ultimate favorites, I know where they are at all times. I take better care of them and I never find myself losing them. It simplified jumping out of the house on a whim to catch a sunset with Josh and Addie like never before. So if you're like I was and you've wasted money on duplicates and know you have too many multiples of something, it might be time to declutter and strip things back to just your favorites of favorites. I find it so much simpler pairing outfits together now since decluttering my wardrobe down by 80%. And it's a great feeling to know that whenever I reach for something in my wardrobe, I know I'm gonna love it. It's never the lesser favorite or one of my duplicates anymore because I got rid of them all. Now I just have my favorites of favorites, and if you find yourself wasting or spending too much money on duplicates, it might be time to step back and declutter to drastically simplify and improve everyday life.
Next on our list of signs it might be time to declutter, if your surfaces are cluttered and your cabinets are overflowing. If things are just too full to actually shut, they're too full. If you have to constantly move things out of the way in your countertops to prepare food, things are too cluttered. I'm all for having some basic everyday items out on the countertop for ease of access. We definitely have our toaster and kettle and things that we use every day on our counters. It'll be impractical to not, but the excess, whatever that is to you, can go. You'll know what the excess or clutter is for you. There's a lot to be said for a clear countertop at the end of the day and waking up to a clear space. It helps you ease into the day without an already growing to-do list before you even start the day. So if you look at your countertops and they're not mostly clear, or if your cabinets aren't closing nicely, then it's a clear sign it's time to declutter.
Seventh on our list of signs it's time to declutter, if you never have anything to wear despite having a lot of clothes. I used to find myself in this predicament every single morning. It was frustrating, and honestly I felt utterly silly that I had so many clothes yet couldn't find something to wear. I'd end up late and miss my train on more than a few occasions because the weather had changed, therefore my entire outfit had to too. So clothes would be thrown across the room and I'd rush to find clothing items that would work together. Combos that would suit, be comfortable and professional all at once. The more clothes, the more endless combos. The decision fatigue was real, and first thing in the morning when I knew I had way more important decisions coming up in my day, it was exhausting. The day I decided to declutter my wardrobe was the day it all changed. I learned a lot about myself in the process, what I like and what I don't, the different types of pressure I was putting on myself, the money and guilt that came along with it that I'd spent on clothes I hardly ever wear. It was an eye-opening experience, and one I'm so glad I did. So if you're where I was, where you constantly find yourself with nothing to wear or clothes scattered all around your bedroom after a mad frenzy of trying to find an outfit, and you know you actually in fact do have more than enough clothes, it might be a good time to have a deeper look at your wardrobe and think about your style and what pieces actually fit with that, and toss anything that doesn't align or anything that isn't comfy.
Second to last on our list of signs it's time to declutter, you're stressed. If you're stressed, clutter doesn't help. In fact, there's a whole body of research that shows how clutter can actually negatively impact our moods and levels of stress. We've delved more into this in one of our videos with specific studies about the direct link between high levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and excess clutter, which is particularly stark in women with cluttered households. So check that out if you're interested. But yes, clutter can stack onto existing stress. It can make day-to-day life harder, more difficult to manage when you're surrounded by too much stuff. It's good to know that although stress goes up with excess clutter, the equal and opposite is also true. If you're stressed, decluttering can help. by lessening one more burden. Decluttering can help ground you in intentionality. It can simplify everyday life and make things easier to manage, which can be wonderful for reducing stress. So if you're feeling stressed, it might be time to declutter. In the long term, it can certainly help make things a whole lot easier and less stressful.
Last on our list of signs, it's time for you to declutter if you don't know where the important stuff is if there was an emergency. Picture this, you're home and get an alert on your phone that a wildfire is raging towards your house and you only have 2 minutes to rush around your home and grab your most valuable things. Where do you go? Being from Australia, I've been in a similar situation before, and it was a rude awakening that I didn't have my most important things in order in case of an emergency. It was 1000% time to declutter. Disasters like bushfires, cyclones, tsunamis are becoming more and more frequent as climate change worsens, so it's important that you have an emergency plan. It'll be completely tailored to you and your circumstance, but a core tenet is that you know where your most important things are, and that becomes a whole lot harder if your home is covered in excess clutter. So here's a good reminder to have an emergency plan. Know what you'll do, what you'll grab when it comes to surviving, and make it through as safely as possible. If you don't know where your important stuff is for an emergency, it's time to declutter and make your super simplified plan. In times of crisis, it's the stripped back, ultra simplified plan that sticks and keeps people safe, not rushing around not knowing where exactly things are stashed.
So there we go, the 9 clear signs it's time for you to declutter. We hope you found value in today's video, and we're here to help you with your decluttering and simplifying journey. If there's anything you'd like help with or any specific videos you'd like us to make, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to help.
If any of these decluttering signs resonated with you, and if you're feeling like you do in fact need a declutter, then you'd probably love our ultimate decluttering guide, which is a super helpful room by room workbook to declutter and simplify your entire home. I wrote it myself and poured endless hours of love and guidance into it. It's like having a supportive yet productive hand-holding best friend right there with you as you work through the difficult areas in your home. We've linked it below if you're interested in checking it out.
We're wishing you all the very best with your decluttering and hope simplifying your surroundings brings peace and clarity soon. And with that, we'll catch you all next time. Bye.
Forgot to breathe.